welcome to Black Economics TV. We have with us today Adam Schaeuble. Thank you so much for agreeing to join us on this YouTube channel. We've been going for a while, but we haven't really spoken much about podcasting. So, who better to speak to than someone who has a podcasting business school? Welcome, Adam.
Thanks, Don. I really appreciate you inviting me on your YouTube channel here. And I'm always excited to talk about podcasting and all the different opportunities and relationships that can come from starting a show.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so tell us about your business. I mean, we know it's about podcasting, but you have a podcasting business school, which brings in the business angle of it. So tell us about it, please.
Yeah, I consider myself an online business coach for podcasters. I believe in, being as niche specific as you can when you jump into especially the entrepreneurship and online business space. So yeah, I really focus on teaching my listeners simple strategies on how to leverage their podcast to grow their online business and get more clients specifically. So, as an example, a lot of people start a podcast thinking and they go, oh, I'm going to monetize my show. They think sponsors. Well, it's of my belief that most podcasters can make a lot more money and make a lot more money earlier on in their career by not accepting sponsors and by selling their own programs, products, and services. So,
Really?
yes, yes. And because for me, I get approached by sponsors almost on a weekly basis, and I tell them all no because I don't want to talk about their product. I want to talk about my product. And instead of getting
Oh.
a 17-cent affiliate fee for a mushroom coffee product or athletic greens or something like that, I can sell a $5,000 consulting package to somebody. And that's, I'm from the States, I'm from the Midwest, but I've done the math. I'm like 5,000 greater than 17 cents. Okay, that makes sense for me. So yeah,
Okay.
I like promoting my own programs, products, and services, and instead of going the sponsorship route. So that's kind of my philosophy, and that's what I
Okay.
teach on my show.
Okay. So how long have you been podcasting?
I started my very first show. It was a health and weight loss show back in 2015. So I'm in my 10th year as a podcaster, and I decided to launch. I owned a fitness studio, and I had great success with that. I wanted to broaden my impact, and I was a big fan of listening to podcasts. So I decided to launch one. I had no idea what I was doing. And initially, I was kind of chasing, like, ooh, let's make some money with sponsors and things like that. And in my first 3 years, so in 2015, 16, and 2017, my sponsorships brought in 37 total dollars, 37
What?
US dollars in 3 years.
No way.
So that's when I decided to start selling my own services. And so that was in 2018. And then by the end of 2019, I was a full-time podcaster. I had replaced my income. I sold my fitness facility and went full-time in the podcasting space.
Okay. So, do you still have the weight loss podcast, or are you focusing now on business school?
Yeah, so I had both for a while. I launched Podcasting Business School in 2018. So I kind of had both businesses, one foot in the health space, one foot in the business space. And then at the end of 2021, I sold my entire online health brand. So I packaged the podcast, my Instagram, and my email list, and I sold that. And now that show has gone on. It's at over 2 million downloads. It's still going. There's, I think 700 episodes of that show now. So that legacy has kind of continued on. And so as of
Wow.
2021, I've only been doing podcasting business school, and that's my only brand. And I made my impact for several years in the weight loss space, helped a lot of people, and created a lot of content. Um, and I kind of closed that chapter in my life in 2021.
Okay. All right. So you were doing that podcast for about 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you started the other one, you were running both at the same time. Okay. Well, that's very interesting. Hmm. Well, I wondered how many podcasts have you done since you started the podcasting business school?
Yeah, and combined, so with podcasting business school, as of the date of this recording, I've got 566 live episodes. Um, in total as a
Really?
in total as a podcaster, I'm over 1,000 episodes and counting. It's about actually over 1,100 episodes now. And so,
Wow.
yeah, so something I believe in with the audio podcast space is weekly episodes. I don't believe in taking breaks um, from release. I've released at least one episode every single week since I started in 2015. I've never missed a week on any of my shows. Um, and I run into some challenges on that philosophy, especially when I post about that on Threads or Instagram. They're like, "Wow, isn't that a recipe for burning out?" And I said, "Well, pay attention to what I said. I said I release content every single week, and I've never missed a week. I did not say that I record content every single week.
Oh,
I batch record. That's where people burn out is trying to.
yes.
Oh, I release on Wednesdays. I'm going to record all my episodes on Tuesdays. Oops, I got sick, and now I didn't have anything recorded. So I'm always ahead by several weeks so that I can take breaks. And, I just took a 3 week
Mm,
break. This week was my first week back recording again. So with audio podcasts, I think it's really important because with the audio medium, people are allowed, they will be doing other things. They'll be multitasking while they listen. And that's unique because like they usually aren't mowing their lawn or walking their dog and scrolling their Instagram feed or their YouTube channel or their email, their newsletters and things like that. So it's with audio, you can be exercising, you can be running, you can
absolutely.
driving your child to school, and we
Yeah.
insert our content into the life routine of that listener. And if we don't release weekly content, we are taking ourselves out of that routine and they will put someone else in there and we may not get that spot back. So
Okay.
that's why I'm a big believer of the weekly content cadence.
Okay. Now, do you record live? So, for instance, if you've got guests, you record live and then edit it, or do you not edit it? You just put it out as you recorded it, as it
Yeah.
was.
I don't have a whole lot of guests on my show. I would say about one out of every 15 episodes is probably a guest. But
Wow.
yeah, but that's another, part of my philosophy that we can definitely get into. But when I do have a guest, um, I record it just like we're talking now, and then I will schedule out in advance. So it's not going to be live streamed anywhere. I actually have zero video asset component. I don't have a YouTube channel. I don't use video clips for anything. Um, I used
Oh,
to, but the return on investment wasn't there for me. I was doing a lot of YouTube shorts and things like that, and I just had angry teenagers commenting mean things at me on my YouTube shorts and TikTok videos,
oh,
and I was like, listen, I've got 1.1 million downloads. I'm doing really well with my show. I don't need all this stress of, I can
yeah.
create and edit YouTube videos, and that takes a certain amount of hours. And in about a fifth of the time, I can have my podcast episodes done for the entire month. And
Mm,
that's where like I prefer a 3 day work week versus an 8 day work week. So less but better. That's my philosophy there. So yeah, I mean that's kind of how I approach it. But I'll record everything in advance, schedule it out in advance. I don't do any live streaming anymore as far as like, but I do like to see people when I talk to them. If you were to come on my show for an interview, I want video because I want to see who I'm talking to. I do feel like that enhances the conversation.
okay, okay. Wow. So you're quite right. It takes much longer to edit videos than it does to edit audio. And also another advantage that I see with doing audio is that you don't have to worry about what you look like. Yeah, you can
Exactly.
just
Look at
you can
me.
just
I
go on
mean,
and talk.
just go in
Yeah.
and talk. Yeah, and especially if you're recording a lot of solo episodes, it's really easy to batch record. And solo episodes are I mean, my solo episodes are a little bit longer because I've been doing them for so long. They'll be 30 to 40 minutes, but most solo episodes, when people get started, they're 5 to 15 minutes long. And you can sit and record four of those in an hour, back to back to back. Each one gets a little bit better because you're kind of warmed up. It's like working out, like you're kind of warmed up and you're hitting your groove a little bit, and then your content is done. And to kind of touch on that point I made earlier about not having very many guests is like if you if you decide to flip the switch and go, okay, I'm not as focused on sponsorship income, I'm more focused on selling my own services, programs, consulting, online courses, memberships, things like that, then we have to establish expert positioning. It's critical. And if you only do interviews, your listeners will see the other person as the expert, and you're the person that interviews experts. And that's a huge problem. So when you use your call to action, hey, check out my blah, blah, blah course, you should really buy it. They won't, because the other person is the one that just dropped all the knowledge. They're the expert on the show. So I like to teach my clients, my listeners, a 2/3 content rule, where at least 2/3 of the content, solo episodes. I do live coaching on my show. I bring listeners on, I coach them for free. That's also great for expert positioning. 2/3 of my content is that. Then I've got 1/3 for strategic interviews, where I'm really thinking about, I invite somebody on, what's in it for my audience, what's in it for me and for my brand as well. Why do I want to be connected and affiliated with this person? And that's kind of the content strategy that's behind the not doing so many interviews.
That's very interesting. So you must be a good talker then, if you can talk for 30 to 40 minutes all by yourself.
Yes, after 1,000 episodes, that is a skill that has been built. It definitely wasn't there from the beginning. And I don't want people that are thinking about launching a show to worry about that. Like, I get the question a lot of, well, okay, you're talking about solo episodes. How long should they be? Or how long should what's the perfect length for a podcast episode? Because we get all the analytics and we hear all the experts saying, oh, the average person will only listen for 27 minutes. So make sure it's 27 minutes or less. And I'm just like, I want you to hit the record button, say what needs to be said, have the conversation that needs to be had if it's an interview. And then when that is complete, that's when you stop recording. I don't care if that's 3 minutes or 37 minutes or 3 hours. Like, say what needs to be said, deliver the value, and then stop recording. And if that's longer, then that's fine. If it's shorter, if you deliver consistent, high quality content, your people will keep showing up for you. So that's
I
my
agree.
thought.
I agree. I would go to church quite a bit early in my life, and I remember thinking that if there's someone who is preaching and their sermon is fantastic, I don't mind if they go on for 2 hours. Forget the singing and everything else. I'm happy to listen and learn.
Yeah,
So I think that's probably how people feel when they're listening to you as the expert and they know that they're getting value. Because listening to a podcast, let's face it, it's free information.
exactly.
So people should go and check yours out if they want to become an expert in podcasting, huh?
That's right. That's exactly right. I love that call to action, Don.
Okay. Right. So podcasting takes time, technical knowledge, equipment, and money. Am I right?
Somewhat, but I think it's going to take a lot less than what the average person thinks. For that podcasting curious person out there, I'll give you an example. So, right now, I'm speaking on a $97 microphone. It's an ATR 2100. A lot of podcasters think they have to have one of these big, the thing that looks in my image back here. They need to have one of these big, fancy, chunky silver microphone things to be like a podcaster, and so they'll spend $500 or $800 on a microphone. And I'm like, all right, well, if you have $800 to get started, I'd rather you buy the $97 microphone and then give me the rest to show you how to be a good podcaster. Um, so I've recorded over 1,000 episodes on a $97 microphone, and it sounds just fine. Like, it doesn't sound like, oh, that's a cheap mic. His audio quality is terrible. Like, it doesn't sound like that at all. I've got a $147 camera. It's a Logitech something. I got it on Amazon. I've got a ring light, and that costs about $50. So we're still less than $300 total on equipment. I got a MacBook Air. That was the most expensive part, but most people already have, if they're an entrepreneur, they have some sort of computer. So, and that's the equipment. That's the setup. Sound quality wise, I record in my basement, but I've got carpet on the floor, so it helps a lot with sound quality. Here's my sound quality hack for people that are like, the enemy of good sound with audio is hard and flat surfaces. So
Oh,
I used to record in our old house. I recorded in the basement, and it was like cement and big open, very echoey. So I had this laundry drying rack where it's got like one of those, like the shelves fold out and you can hang your wet clothes on it, you know? And I took that and I stuck it right behind my microphone with wet clothes on it, and it eliminated all the
wow.
echo. And so,
Really?
yeah, I just took a $20 laundry drying rack with wet clothes on it, and it absorbed all the echo, and that fixed it for me. So just throwing some pillows
Wow.
on the ground, a little bit of shag carpet, things like that. Throw some pictures up on the wall, canvas pictures, that helps absorb sound. So it's pretty simple. The podcast hosting platform that I like is Libsyn. I spend about $20 a month there. You can record on Zoom. You can record on something like StreamYard, another 20 to 20-ish dollars a month. It's not very expensive. And if you're doing mainly audio, it doesn't take very much time either. It's just, putting in time to create the content, and then you're good to go. So yeah, I mean, it can be very cost efficient and effective. Now, if you're somebody that really loves the technology and you're like, I love tech and I just love to nerd out about microphones, go for it. Get the expensive mic. I know so many podcasters. I tease them. I'm like, you have more microphones than you have actual friends. I'm like, you, like, they have all the different ones and they love all the tech and they've got the little switchboard with the sound effects, but they love that. That's a part of the hobby. Like one of my themes is love it like a hobby, build it like a business. You can have both. That's not me personally. I'm not like another microphone must have, like, I got to show my friends my microphone. I'm not into the tech, but if that's your thing, go for it. But it doesn't have to be your thing. And I think just to kind of put an end cap on this part of the conversation, one of the biggest, I think, scams in YouTubing and podcasting is people that feel like they have to record at a professional studio. These professional studios are really taking advantage of people for the most part, where I see
Mm,
people being charged thousands of dollars a month for something that's not that different than what they could be doing in their basement for
mm,
$40 a month. So do not
mm.
feel because your favorite podcaster has this professional studio with wood on the wall in the background and professional lights and all the
Mm.
minions to help them with the recording and editing. Like that isn't normal for podcasting. That's the top 0.01% that have the money to do things like that. So it
Yes.
doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, I do quite a few of my interviews in a hotel, you know,
Yeah.
not in a specific room, but in a hotel, they always have a restaurant or lounge area
Yep.
because we have software now where you can actually reduce the background noise and
Exactly.
focus on the main speakers. So no expenses that are needed there. But I've got to say, some podcasters might start by recording on their phone, their audio on their phone. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah. I know a lot of people that do that. And I think the key with like people are like, well, what sound quality, like basics do I need? I think if you're delivering education and you have a pretty good energy level, you can get away with poor sound quality. People will still listen. Right? If you're like, oh, I've got so many takeaways and they speak with a lot of energy and they're not boring, you can get away with saying a few times. You could get away with your microphone popping on your P's a little bit or whatever. Now, if you have like a meditation based podcast or a storytelling podcast, I would look to upgrade your audio above what a
Yeah.
phone will give you because the audio experience is a bigger part of that type of a show. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. 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 Understood. Understood. Okay. Let's go back a bit now. Tell us about your early life and education. And did you ever dream as you were getting older that you were going to have an audience of millions?
So I love this question, Don. I put up a post on the Threads app, which is my favorite place to hang out on social media. And I said, I when I graduated from college, podcasting did not exist. And now I'm a full-time podcaster. It just kind of blows my mind. I'm like, the
Yeah.
industry that I am like that supports me and my family did not exist when I graduated from college. And it makes me think about my son who's 14 years old. I'm like, what will he be when he grows up? Is he going to be like a
Yeah.
teleportation expert or something? Like, you know, maybe he'll have like an Uber on Mars or something. I don't know. Like, it's going to be just the fact that my full time career didn't exist when I graduated from college. That just it blows my mind. So early on, I've always been an entrepreneur. I've I've only worked for someone else for one entire month of my life. I
What
bagged,
month?
yeah,
What?
I bagged groceries at a grocery store for 1 month when I was 16 years old, and I was like, "This is not for me." I
Mm.
didn't like anybody telling me where to be and how to be. So I've always sold things. I created my own little businesses. I did, fitness and personal training, started my own gym and all that while I was still in college. And yeah, I've always had that entrepreneurial mindset. Even when I was younger, I would strategically place my friends throughout our neighborhood with walkie talkies, and we would watch for the ice cream truck, and people would pay us for like the alert of like when the ice cream truck was coming so they didn't miss it. So I got like, they'd have their dollar for their ice cream and they'd pay me the extra quarter to make sure they didn't miss it.
Oh,
That
wow.
so that we made like homemade birthday cards for people, like the old people in our neighborhood, and we go around door to door and sell them. And I'm 8 years old.
Oh,
So yeah, that I've always had the knack for community building. That that kind of flowed into my fitness facility. It created a lot of community there, uh, kind of a like-minded goal, and building energy around that. Now I'm doing
yeah.
that same thing in the online space. And to answer your question, no, I never really intended or thought I'd have this large of a following, and it's nice. I've worked really hard for it. It's kind of a 10-year overnight success story, but I'm very proud of myself for sticking with it, where a lot of people
Absolutely.
probably would have quit during those first 3 years when I didn't really make any money.
I can't believe you made $37 in 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, most of us would have thought, well, sponsorship would come easy for you, you know? That's quite shocking.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really tough. I mean, a big part of the inspiration for my podcasting business school brand is to make sure that no one else has to go through that 3 years like I did. I help hit the fast
Okay.
forward button. Like that's a big part of my inspiration for my content and my motivation to connect with my audience and go, hey, here are a bunch of mistakes that I learned that I want you to
Mm,
avoid so you don't have the same
mm.
pain tunnel to walk through like I did.
I understand. I understand. Yeah. Well, thanks for that. Appreciate it. Have there been others in your family or close friendship groups who started podcasts like you because they were inspired by you?
I would say nobody in my family, they all still wonder how I pay the bills, which is hilarious. It's like, have you ever seen the movie Wayne's World where they like Wayne and Garth from Saturday Night Live, they're in like one of their mom's basements, and that's like their YouTube channel or whatever. I think that's what a lot of my family and friends assume. They're like, they either assume that I'm famous or they assume that I'm homeless somehow when I tell them I'm a full-time podcaster. Like, do you live in your
Yeah.
mom's basement somehow? So I definitely not think anybody in the family. I've had different. I encourage a lot of people to launch shows that I run into in entrepreneurship circles or whatever. And anytime I see a service provider, especially like real estate agents, financial advisors, people like that have knowledge and strategy, that's a really nice transition into the audio podcasting format where we can leverage that to grow their brick and mortar business and their online business and kind of have that second component. So yeah,
Mm.
I'm always encouraging, but podcasting isn't for everybody.
Yeah, I understand that. But do you know if they've listened into you? Have they spied on you to see what you're up to?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like
Oh, they have.
my parents listen to the show for sure. My dad always
Oh,
does. And once he learned that on social media, it helps me if like they comment or like hit the heart button, he will do that on every single post that I put up, which is hilarious. And
oh,
he
so
comments
nice.
and you know, it's pretty cute, but they support me. Um, and the really interesting thing is my children. I've got a 14-year-old son, a 10-year-old daughter, and uh, like my daughter especially is really interested in content creation. So I set her up with like an app for her iPad, and she started creating videos, and she wants to set up her Instagram account. I've already got my son, who's a really good athlete, an Instagram account, and he's posting videos, and he got a 500,000 views on one of his videos the other day. And I mean,
Wow.
just really, it's cool to watch them create content and be inspired from what I'm doing. I can kind of help them along and say, hey, you should change the hook on your Instagram post to this instead of this, or use this music because the beat goes or it's trending music or something like that. And they're learning. I think my daughter will be a superstar online. My son is just kind of leaning into his athletic ability, and he's got some pretty impressive stats and things like that. So that helps with his
Mm,
growth. But yeah,
mm.
watch out for Hannah Schaeuble. She's coming for Instagram.
Oh, wow. That's great. And it's amazing how well they take to this technology because they've grown up with it. Whereas it might take us 2 years to learn something properly, it takes them 2 weeks, you know? They just
Precisely.
take to it like a duck to water. It's amazing.
It is amazing, and they learn so fast. It's kind of scary too. I'm like, "Ooh, you really picked that up very very quick." So yeah, I try to guard what I'm, especially with online stuff. Like I control their accounts and things like that. Because
Yes.
I just because all the like my son's example, my son's video that did 500,000 views, there were a lot of negative comments on that, and he doesn't see any of that stuff. Like, and
Oh,
I
are
don't
you?
respond to that, and they're just a lot of faceless accounts that are private, and they're just trolling and saying negative things on everybody, and um, so
So
yeah,
do
but
you go through and delete all the negative comments then?
I don't because that helps with the algorithm. It just gets it to show more people. I'm always like, thank you for commenting because now the algorithm just got a boost from your negativity and will turn a negative into a positive. Um, but I had to tell my dad also, I'm like, Dad, do not combat with the negative posts. I'm like, just leave it alone because my dad will go in there and try to start a battle with people that say anything negative about his grandchildren, as it should be.
Oh,
But no, like I
oh,
think
he's looking
that
out for his family. That's quite sweet. Oh,
exactly. Big Mike
wow.
looks out for us.
Oh, that's really lovely. Okay. So you're on Black Economics TV, and as you know, we talk to a lot of Black entrepreneurs. Having said that, we haven't spoken to a Black podcaster yet, but that's got to come at some point. So tell us, what's the landscape like for Black podcasters? Do you know any successful Black podcasts?
Well, I know this. I know that there is a need for more diversity in podcasting. 1,000,000%. There are a lot of white male based podcasts that cater to white male based audiences. And that's something that I feel like the industry is ready for more voices. So I see a lot of different ethnicities, different languages popping up. Like the Spanish speaking only podcasts are really taking off. Uh, I know,
Really?
I know, yes, and I know that like podcasting in India has really taken off, and so there's a lot of opportunity for especially females. Like let's more black females, more just different ethnicities. But I would have to say more female voices in general would be a great thing. Like I love listening to really, really good podcasts. And I would say I listen to 5 to 6 podcasts every single week. I've got other shows I listen to kind of sporadically, and all of those shows are with females. And I've hired
Oh,
3 of the 5 as coaches in the past 2 years. Like I've paid 3 of the 5,
okay.
and we just need more of that. Like I feel like there's a lot of bro marketing, bro podcasts, and like you just see a lot of that, and people assume like, it's not for me. But I can tell you, the female voices do really, really well. We need diversity. We need more people sharing stories and educating in their own unique and special way. So I think the opportunity is there in a big way.
Okay, well, that's really interesting. So maybe this is a message we can get out to people. Need more podcasters out there, more diverse podcasters, more females even. That's a really good point. So thanks for that. All right. So I'm going to go on to resilience and problem solving.
Well, I think, one definite example we can look at is my start in podcasting. Like, a question I get a lot is, have you ever thought about quitting? I go, yes, every single day for the first 3 years. That
Oh,
was,
wow.
it was rough. But the thing, I talk about like your why, the big capital WHY needs to be bigger than the combined force of all the why nots. Any goal that you have, whether it's losing 100 pounds, um, making $1 million, launching a podcast, getting a million downloads or whatever, like the reason behind that has to be stronger than all the reasons that pop up that make you want to quit doing that. So for me with podcasting, I just saw the opportunity to create a leveraged online business. And I was like, it's going to feel like I have two full-time jobs, of which only one I get paid for a while until I eventually figured this out. I saw other people that weren't that different from me out there making meaningful income and having success and growing an audience and a brand. And I was just very, very confident in my ability to figure that out. And I've always had
Mm,
confidence in myself. As an entrepreneur, I don't know where that comes from, but it's something I've always been willing to bet on myself. I'm going to figure this out and I will be able to pay the bills and we're going to go for it because ultimately my happiness and my lifestyle, that is the biggest revenue stream, the biggest source of income, quote unquote, for me. Like me having a 3 day work week is that's a huge payout for me because I'm very present
mm,
with my children, my wife, my family, my friends. I am involved in all their lives at what some may call an annoying level. Like my kids are
wow.
like, Dad's always around. He's taking me to school. He's picking me up from school. We're doing workouts. I'm making meals. We're doing family game night. We're doing family movie night, and like all the
Wow, the
things.
ideal dads. Oh my goodness. Look at
That's that's
you.
that's what it's about. So I could say, hey, let's double my income. Or I could say, well, I'm really good with the amount of income I've made. Let's cut my work time in half instead and spend more time doing these other things. So they're important inflection points in our lives where we have to make decisions like that. And, you know, I've been able to do that. So I think for any challenge that I faced, it's always been about that long term why and letting me be motivated by that and driving towards that thing. Um, like I used to weigh 327 pounds. I've lost over 100 pounds. That's before I started my weight loss. My
Wow.
fitness club and my
327.
yeah. I don't know how many kilos that is or stone or what do you
All
measure in?
right.
Are you in kilos or is
We,
it
well, we use kilos as well, but it's mainly stones and pounds
okay?
here.
So I know in kilos it's like 135 kilos, I think, is what I weighed, something like that. Around that range, between 135 140 kilos. I don't know how many stone that is. That's beyond my math capabilities. But
Okay.
yeah, but that was the same deal. Like when I decided to start losing weight, it was the why versus the why nots, and I just made it happen. And eventually, that's what inspired me to start my fitness club and my fitness
Okay.
business and helping other people do what I then did. So, um, yeah, those are just a couple good examples of kind of coming up against a tough inflection point in life and demonstrating resilience and drive to finish the job.
Have you got before and after pictures? How you
Oh
look
yeah.
before you lost the weight? That'd
Oh
be interesting
yes.
to see. We can show our audience. You never
Yes.
know. Some people might contact you wanting coaching in that, losing
No,
weight.
I wouldn't accept it. I'm retired. Very retired for weight loss. That's you couldn't pay me enough. I served my time in that space. So
Okay,
yeah.
understood, understood, understood. Okay, well, brilliant. Well, I'm so glad to have heard about your journey. I suppose I want to ask also about your downtime. What kind of hobbies do you have?
Well, I think my biggest hobby is just really being present with my children. Like it's really, really
Oh,
important. It's very important. And I still am able to maintain some of my fitness drive and knowledge. Like we have a fitness facility in our basement to kind of set up, and I'll bring them in there, and we're doing workouts, and it's giving them an advantage in their sports, and they're getting a healthy start to
oh,
life and things like that.
wow.
So I spend a lot of time investing in them. I love exploring just new things. Like I took an online course this past winter on accounting and tax savings and things like that. I'm like, well, I'm making more money now, and I feel like it would benefit me to learn about taxes. And then so we just filed our taxes here in the United States here about a week ago, and I caught a mistake that my accountant made that put another $8,000 in my pocket. I was like, this is great. I learned the thing, and now I'm
Wow.
catching mistakes. So I love just learning obscure but sometimes
Well
useful
done.
things. I have recently become obsessed with the board game Catan. I love. Have you
Oh,
ever played Catan before?
no, never
Oh,
heard of it.
Catan. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I pronounce it Catan, not Catan. I feel like Catan sounds like I'm from the Midwest in the United States, so Catan makes me sound more proper, you know. Um,
Okay.
so it's a fun board game. We do family game night every week on the weekend.
Oh,
So little
wow.
things like that. I love studying things on like financial independence, early retirement, setting yourself up for success long term with that. Yeah. Credit card rewards hacking. I took a course on that and learned how I got, I mean, I haven't paid for a flight in years once I took that course and I learned how to get credit card rewards points and just use those for all my trips and travel and stuff. So little things like that. I love learning new stuff.
Are you following what's going on in politics in the US?
Oh yeah. It's stressful.
Can you sleep at night?
Yeah, I just don't look at my investment accounts at all with the roller coaster
Oh,
ride that we're
wow.
on right now. But
Okay.
we'll see. Hopefully it all gets sorted out for our sake and for the world's sake. Hopefully everything kind of
Well,
evens out.
yes, because all around the world, everyone's worried about what's happening, and
Yeah.
I don't know if we can take 4 years of this, but let's see what happens, eh?
Yeah.
Let's hope
Yeah.
it all comes good in the end.
I hope so too. That's when it comes to politics, I'm pretty like I mean, I consider myself an independent. I'm just looking for good things to happen and
Hmm.
kind of I look at it with those types of that type of a mindset. And I don't know, down the road, I do my thing in podcasting. Maybe I throw my hat in the ring as an independent politician to make a difference down the road. I like
Oh,
speaking and
wow.
I
You
like
thinking of politics later
I
on,
like
huh?
creating community and things like that. So I wouldn't put it past me to give that a shot someday.
Oh, wow. That would be fantastic. Good for you. Oh, well, it's been amazing speaking to you. I'm so pleased to have met you, and I would advise that people go and check you out, both in terms of your Instagram profile, which is Podcasting Business School on Instagram, and also check out your podcast as well. How many is it that you've done? Is it 546?
566 episodes, Don. And if somebody wants a particular episode to start on, I would start on episode 560. That's been a real fan favorite, or listener favorite. I talk about how to leverage keywords and SEO to double your podcast downloads. A lot of people have
Oh,
gotten great results from
wow.
those strategies. So 560 is a great one to start with.
Okay, 560. Okay. Okay. I will do that first, but I think it's also good to listen from the beginning to see how you started. So I've been doing a little bit of that. So thank you so much, Adam. You have a great evening, and I'm sure we'll stay in touch. And
Yeah.
hopefully, some people will contact you and say, "Oh, can we have a chat? Can you help us?" You never know.
Well, that would be great. And Don, I appreciate you for inviting me on your show. You're a great host. I love your energy. I love your curiosity. I love your interviewing style here. And
Oh,
now I've got a new friend from across the pond, and you've
well,
got one in
that's
the
fine.
States now. So that's what it's all about.
So anyway, I was a bit shocked to know you haven't traveled to UK yet, though. You don't do much traveling, or what?
I'm too busy chasing my children around and,
Oh,
and
I see, I see. Oh, you've got to come to London. Oh, you'd love it. Okay, so
it's a deal.
when that happens, let me know. Okay, let me
All
know
right.
before you come so we can prepare for you.
All right. That
All
sounds good to
right.
me.
Lovely talking to you, Adam. You take care.
You too. Thank you, Don.
Bye.